So, you're thinking about becoming your favorite Pokemon, but you're not sure how to design it. Well, have no fear, EJ here to help give you some handy tips on how to design your own Pokemon Gjinka. Ever since I started cosplay a couple of years ago, I fell in love with Pokemon Gjinka. From designing them for others to designing and making my own, I simply adore becoming my favorite Pokemon. With a little help from some of my good friends MW Cosplay and Carrie Louise Cosplay, I've put together some tips to help you design your own Pokemon Gjinka. So sit back, relax, and let's look at how to become our favorite Pokemon. When choosing your Pokemon, be sure to choose one that has some iconic traits to work off and isn't too simple. If the Pokemon is really basic, you might struggle to transfer it to a more human state. Take Ditto for example, it's just a pink blob. Turning that into armor or that might be a little difficult, as all we can really take from the Pokemon is its base color. Don't get me wrong, simple Pokemon can work. I've seen some really fun Dittos in my time cosplaying, and learnt what it's like to be in the daycare with one, if the daycare was an elevator. Anyway, when choosing a Pokemon, be sure it's one you love and it has some decent features to work off. As with all costumes, research is key to helping you figure out just what you want to design and create. Look at the Pokemon you want to cosplay and get a feel for its personality, its battle style. Take the time to identify key traits and color, all of its stylings. All Pokemon will have key traits that are iconic to their design, like Houndoom and its spikes, Jirachi and its head shape, Moltres and its wings. But let's take Entei as an example, a big beastie dog. It's a very powerful and proud looking Pokemon. Its key features include the face mask, which is the most noticeable one, as well as spikes and a poofy trail. When designing a cosplay for Entei, you could try to keep the mask in the design, whether the armor be coloured like the mask, you physically wear a mask, or the mask is placed into the core outfit details. Entei is mostly brown, so a colour theme that's brown is good to keep in mind. When I did Entei, I tried to stay as accurate as possible to the Pokemon, so I ended up with something that looked a little like this. Take your time, do your research, and get to really know the Pokemon so you can design something that stays true to the Pokemon, but matches your style as well. Once you've chosen your Pokemon and you've researched it, it's now on to the designing part. Remember, keep its iconic traits in mind as well as colors, personality when you're doing this. Start off by thinking, what would this Pokemon look like if it was human? I like to take what we call the Monster Hunter approach to my Gjinka making, which is, if I skinned this Pokemon and made clothing or armor out of it, what would it look like? It's good to have something in mind when designing, like, do you want it to be a warrior, a ninja, sword fighter, goddess, elven archer? Have a theme in mind and roll with it. Take your time designing and be sure to take time to look at the design and make sure you can see the Pokemon in what you've designed. If you're struggling to get the Pokemon from the design, go back and change a few things and see if it helps. I had to do this with my Houndoom, as my original Mega Houndoom style armor top honestly looked horrifically terrible and nothing like the Pokemon at all. So after taking a break, getting some friendly internet advice, and redesigning, I ended up with something much better. If you have a theme in mind, design using reference images of the Pokemon and other costumes with the same theme to help you along with your design. An example of this was the Elven Archer Rayquaza that I got to design for my partner. Using a few reference images, I managed to design something that kept Rayquaza in mind, but followed the exact theme that he wanted. If you're doing a group, remember to keep synergy in the costumes. Is one of you wearing armor? Then try to have some armor involved in your costume as well. The costumes need to look good together and as standalone outfits. When planning groups, work together, decide on a set theme, and communicate a whole lot when designing. Bounce ideas off each other and come up with a costume that you are all happy with. An example of this for me is the Moltres and Articuno that I designed as a set for me and Carrie Louise Cosplay. We kept the headpieces, shoes, the wings, and the armor tops all following a set pattern so you could see we were a duo. We did have a Zapdos, but they kind of failed. Remember to have fun designing the costume and make sure it's one you're happy with. Whether it's silly, epic, or just something that suits your style, make sure you are comfortable with it. Even the simplest of designs can be fun, like my Ludicolo. Simple, but I really love wearing it because I have a blast. So there you have it guys, here are some tips from me on how to design Pokemon Gjinka. I know it's not a definitive guide and there's a lot of stuff that maybe you might want to know about that wasn't featured in this, but this was the concise version of tips I have for designing Pokemon Gjinka, and hopefully they'll help you out on your journey. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and if you want to check out my finished costumes, then be sure to check out my Facebook page, which you can find in the information section below. If you want to show off your Pokemon creations, then leave me links to your pages in the comments section, or check out the Pokemon Gjinka group on Facebook and show them off there. I would honestly love to see what works you guys have come up with. Also, be sure to check out the other cosplayers mentioned in this video, and if you have any requests for future videos or any questions, then please let me know. Until next time, happy cosplaying, peace, love and positive vibes. I love you guys, keep being creative and awesome. Mwah!